Most people don't lose because they were beaten. They lose because they never truly fought. They accept defeat internally before it manifests externally. They give up before they've even tried. The Roman general Julius Caesar landed in Britain, his army outnumbered, his army's morale low. But to prevent retreat, he burned the ships him and his army arrived on, forcing himself and his army to fight with no way out. He didn't just accept defeat mentally, even though he knew him and his army were outnumbered. He knew his morale was low. He knew he was going to lose. But he didn't. He didn't lose because he tried. He went against all odds. He did the impossible, removing any chance of surrendering. The lesson here being, when you give yourself an option or reasons to why you should retreat or surrender when you haven't even tried yet, you've already lost. So you might as well try. No matter if the odds are stacked against you, no matter how impossible the task may seem at hand, just go for it. Give it a try. You might just win. You might just come out successful. Society allows instant comfort without any hard work. Instant victories without any fight, right? And that's why most people are so lazy and they don't go out there, they don't work hard, and they don't try win a true battle for themselves. They never truly test their capabilities. They just sit in comfort and they feel they have already won, as they feel the short-term dopamine gives them entertainment, it gives them fun, it gives them fulfillment, it gives them wins. But it's not a true win. You've seized true victory to comfort. That's a loss. And the thing is, the mind is the first wall. It's the first battle to be won before you do anything, before you do any sort of hard work. So society encourages us to not even try, to not even test ourselves, to not even test our mind. And once we accept defeat on that first battle, we accept defeat in the rest of our life. That's why most people live in comfort. They live in fear. They live in doubt. Because they've sacrificed their mind and they've accepted defeat in their mind. And once you do that, you accept defeat in every aspect and every area of your life. The fortress of Constantinople stood for 1,000 years. It was impenetrable. No one could siege in, no one could break in. However, in 1453, the Ottomans laid siege. And they succeeded for the first time in 1,000 years. Attempt after attempt by different armies trying to siege and break in. Only they did it. But how? It wasn't their siege. It wasn't the fact that they broke in. It's because the defenders broke. They didn't believe in themselves anymore. They retreated, they ran away from the walls. They accepted defeat, even though they had the upper hand. They had the high ground on the siege. And they gave up. They doubted themselves. They feared. And they ran away and they accepted defeat. So the truth is, reality follows the mind. If you believe you are doomed, you are. So do not surrender up here, because once you do and you allow that wall to come crashing down, the rest of them break down as well, and you are defeated. And the thing is about the modern era that we live in, most people surrender unknowingly, because most of mental defeat is self-imposed. The common mindset traps people find themselves falling into, and I guarantee at some point you have become a victim to one of these yourself, are preemptive excuses. It's too hard, I'll never make it. Overthinking and hesitation. What if I fail? False rationalization. It wasn't meant for me. I wasn't built for this. They let all these excuses and these reasons be the reason why they give up before they even test them, before they even try them out to see if they're actually true. People let fear stop them before failure ever does. The Wright brothers who invented flight, there were dozens of engineers with better funding, better education, Samuel Langley being one of them. He had government funding, but after one attempt, he gave up. The difference between everyone else and the Wright brothers was that everyone else gave up because they feared failure. They overthought, they over-hesitated, they over-engineered. However, the Wright brothers refused to accept failure as final and kept adjusting until they succeeded. So it wasn't their starting position, it wasn't the funding, the knowledge, it was the relentless desire to keep pushing on, to test themselves, to be consistent, to believe, to work hard. And that had to first start in the mind. They had to convince themselves that no matter how much they feared failure, no matter how much they wanted to overthink or hesitate towards their actions, they just went for it. That started in the mind first. They had to have a strong mind to get through that, to work hard, to be consistent, to turn up every day until they succeeded. So stop overthinking, fearing any ideas, thoughts, ambitions you may have. Just go for it. Give it a try. The worst that can go wrong is failure, and if you don't even try, you've already lost. So you might as well try, and if you fail, eventually you might come out with some success. And there's so much power in facing that first battle of the mind. In my own life, before I started content creation, I feared judgment, I feared failure, I feared time wasting, I feared genuinely just speaking on camera. There were so many other reasons I had to why I didn't want to do it. Commitment, right? Until I realised all of these things don't mean anything. They're self-imposed. I'm just telling myself that these exist. They don't. I'm creating that reality for myself. I'm creating these excuses for myself that don't need to exist, that are just holding me back from testing my idea, testing my thought and ambitions of creating content. Just go for it. And I did, and I'm sitting here right now, giving my ideas, giving my knowledge, trying to help people. You just gotta go for it. And it all started because I won that battle up here first. I had to convince myself that I was capable of just doing it, just going for it. And without winning the battle up here, I would have never started. That's why it's the first, most important battle you must win before you take any action on anything. You have to believe you can do it. And even if you do try, you're bound to fail at some point. It's inevitable. But if you keep fighting and you keep trying, just like the Wright brothers, eventually you will succeed. Just use failure as fuel to keep pushing on, to want to prove yourself wrong. And here are some mindset shifts to never accept defeat prematurely. Adopt a warrior's mentality. Stop fearing, thinking about fear, hesitating, overthinking, thinking about failure or what if I don't succeed. Just respect your effort to try. Warrior knows that he may die, he may not win the battle, but he goes in there and tries anyway with that slim chance that he might come out successful, that he might win the battle. Detach from outcomes. Focus on the fight, not the win. Stop seeing the futuristic you with the success. See the journey first, fall in love with it and work hard so that later on the reward will be valuable because you worked hard, you focus on the fight and you push through the fight to then eventually get the win. Train your mind like your body. Just as you wouldn't give up randomly mid-workout, don't do that same thing in your mind. Don't just give up randomly in your mind before you've even tried, before you've even finished. Challenge yourself daily. Force yourself to take battles you would usually avoid. So, if you've already lost in your mind, what chance do you believe you have in reality? But if you refuse to accept defeat mentally, reality has no choice but to follow. What battles in your life so far have you surrendered without even fighting? And what do you feel the outcome could be if you just fought for once?